Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the SharpSHOOTers. As always, we're your hosts, Danny and Juice. Remember, we're in throwback Juice time. He's in high school. What's up, Juice?
I'm not in high school. I'm at an undisclosed location. Remains to be seen. Y'all will never know. But I've moved locations. Here I am. And yeah, I'm ready to go. Ready to talk some wrestling
I
from this
love it.
past week. We had some AEW Grand Slam, which was like a supersized collision episode essentially.
It
But
was really good. I
yeah,
liked it a lot. We had a big week in wrestling as far as huge beard for a high schooler, says Fallaton. I agree with that. So, but
it's
some of
true.
some of
Well,
these kids now, I don't know.
I assure all of you, by the time next time you all see me on Tuesday, I will look completely different.
Uh oh.
'Cause I will be shaving and getting a haircut this weekend.
Uh oh.
But
We'll see a
yeah,
babyface Juice.
maybe not fully baby face, maybe like tweener.
Trimmed up, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, big weekend wrestling. We had AEW Grand Slam. WWE wrapped up their Elimination Chamber participants, so that's official now. And there's gonna be some title matches going on next week, so we got a lot to talk about. Let's get right into it with our last point standing as usual. Juice, start us off.
all right. So I want to dive in with Grand Slam. Before we even get to the matches, I just want to talk about the presentation for the show. I don't know if you've been seeing this or hearing this throughout the week. It's been a big point of contention online. But we could start off with the wrestling ring, the size of the wrestling ring. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I heard it was a smaller ring,
Yeah, it was. It was
and
definitely a
you
smaller
could see it.
ring. Yeah, you can tell instantly it was a smaller ring. They were
Hmm.
using it for rentals. They were renting it from somewhere else. Now listen, I I don't care as a viewer. Like I was like, fine, whatever. But I do have to say I get the line of thinking. I do get the people that are upset about it, especially if they were there live. Like my mindset is this: if I'm from Australia and I watch AEW weekly, I want to get the AEW experience. Like I want to see the stage, and again, I get it's about the wrestling, but again, you watch it for 5, 6 years, and they're finally coming to your country. You want the barricades, you want the stage, you want the ring, you want the steps didn't even freaking come.
Yeah.
Like you want the things that make AEW AEW, and like for what was definitely supposed to be like a pay per view or something originally. Like I was very let down that it kind of just like degraded into what it became with like just the bare minimum of stuff being used. Again, did I really care? Me personally, no, but I totally understand it.
I also feel like the time slot after the NBA All Star game, all that played a factor into them being like, hey, we're in Australia. Like, just be happy we're here, which kind of sucks because, like, I kind of saw it. And besides the matches, like, I was kind of the opposite of you. I was kind of let down as a viewer. Like, I'm looking at, I'm like, this is Grand Slam. Like, I remember when we went to Grand Slam, like, it was a big deal for us. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
a great presentation. And now I'm looking at, I'm like, this looks nothing like what we went to. And like that's kind of disappointing because even for the 10 p.m. slot, I'm sure a lot of people were watching. You had that big crowd in
Mhm.
Australia. They were a hot crowd. They were really into it.
Yeah, crowd was
And
great.
and
Listen,
it
they
was
loved the
just
show.
disappointing.
The crowd loved it. They got a great show, so that's why I feel like it's not much to really complain about, like on our end as a viewer. But the one thing that did annoy me also is I watched the NBA All Star skills stuff at the end just to catch whenever it was going to start live,
Hmm.
like not to miss it. And I don't know if you caught it, but like they did a read for what was coming up next, and they're like, "Oh, come!" I don't know who the guy was. What some guy from on that channel, but it's like it's TNT, and they're like, "Oh, coming up next, AEW Collision," and I'm like, and the graphic was just AEW Collision. It's like, listen, like
Stupid.
corporate synergy, like where's you're not even saying Grand Slam or the
Yeah.
first show ever in Australia, or like it was just such a like I get it's a lazy read, but that annoyed me. Like you got all this lead in of viewers. You could have been like AEW Grand Slam in Australia, first time ever, up next, and it's just like, oh nope, just Collision.
Yep.
That annoyed me.
No,
I'd
I
be annoyed
agree.
if I was Tony Khan with that
I
one.
agree. I agree.
But yeah, so that was just some stuff about the presentation of Grand Slam as a whole. Hopefully, they can fix that next year because they are going back. If you
Yeah.
didn't see,
But let's get into the matches now.
yeah, First up, I wanted to talk about Mercedes Moné versus Harley Cameron
Oh, I
for the
was so
TBS
upset.
title. Mercedes Moné did retain,
Yes.
uh,
I
and
really thought for a second there was one point, I forgot what point in the match,
mhm.
but there was one point I was just like, "Oh my god, like this is going to happen right now."
Yeah, and listen, Harley did well, and you can tell she was nervous.
Mhm.
The biggest match of her career by
Mhm.
far, with not much experience, but she looked great. Crowd was behind her. Like at one point, you see Harley got on the top rope, and the whole top rope went like this when she grabbed it because she was shaking so much. Um, she'll
She'll
never
never
give
give
up.
up a title, says Killer Tomato. She's
Yes,
got
she
to
will.
eventually. She has too many.
She will.
This is
She will.
getting
She's got a lot of.
ridiculous.
She's got a lot of matches coming up the next month or two, though.
Yeah,
So
she's
I
got to
wouldn't be
drop at
surprised.
least one or two of them in the next month.
Well, she's fighting. I don't know if you saw on Dynamite last night, but they announced she's fighting Momo Watanabe
Mhm.
at uh,
Yeah,
at
she won the
Revolution.
tournament
So
to get the number like for any title she wanted.
yeah. So but yeah, back to the match though. I liked the match. I thought it was nice. It was just a fun match. I mean, obviously, excuse me. I would have liked for Harley to have pulled up the surprise upset,
Yeah.
but also once I saw where it was on the match card, like once you see the order of the show and where it is. Yeah, you kind
You
of
kind of
knew.
knew. And then
I kind
like
of knew she wasn't going to get it.
and once she didn't get it, you knew, we'll talk about it literally next, but you knew what the result later on was going to be, and that was just kind of like, all right, I'm fine
Yeah,
with it. We talked about it. I'm good with either one winning, and just
yeah,
would have been really exciting to I think that might have been a bigger pop. I don't know, because it would have been
definitely
like a
for sure,
surprise. So
for sure. Killer Tomato is asking you who she's fighting, Danny. What was her name?
I am not answering that.
No,
I
no
gotta
idea.
look at it to try my best to keep talking first, and let me look it up, and I'll try my best to pronounce it.
You can't even do the first one. The first one's easy. First name.
It's Emmy.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
but hopefully, honestly, from here, Harley can stay on TV, be relevant, be given another story or feud. It'd be a shame to see her kind of just fade away in a month or two when a new pay-per-view cycle hits. But optimistic. We'll see.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna
Um,
try it. Momo Watanabe. No,
well,
Watanabe.
you got Momo. Yeah, Momo Watanabe.
Ah, I got it on the second try. Fuck you, Killer Tomato. Next up,
Oh,
we got we got Tony versus Mariah in the main event. What
yeah.
did we think about this?
This is for the women's title, and yeah, I mean Tony Storm, record-breaking fourth title win.
Crazy, bro.
Um,
Like
yeah, I mean,
more than
listen, I love
anyone.
Tony. I love Tony. I'm happy. Good for her. But like, this shouldn't be a long title reign. Honestly, like I like Tony, but I wouldn't have done it. I don't like it from Mariah. I just think it's a bad look when like Mariah beats Tony for it, has this long dominant reign, and as soon as Tony comes back, like that's the challenge that will like establish Mariah even
Yeah,
more with what she's doing. So, and also, the story's not done. There's more meat on the
of
bone.
course.
I mean, it was a fluke win. She had a roll up,
Yeah,
so it wasn't like
it wasn't a uh
a
like
definitive win. Like,
exactly.
yeah. So, not the story's not done.
Who is her
Maybe
next
it will.
opponent? Do they continue with Mariah, or do they go in a new direction for a little bit while Mariah like plans her next move?
I feel like people will get mad at it, but I'd almost just hot shot it right back to Mariah at Revolution.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, I would just take it right back, but we'll see what they do. I
All
think that would
right.
piss a lot of people off. They just did it for the pop, but Mercedes
Mercedes
needs
that,
that.
and we were saying that, and that's why I was hoping that Harley would have won the title, because then that would have freed up Mercedes to go after the women's championship.
Yeah,
But right now, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, because Mercedes still has to drop her belt. So I don't think she's going to be going after the belt
yeah,
unless she wants 5 belts, Mercedes, which is possible.
yeah. I don't know. I would just really like to see other people start getting into the title picture because it's basically been Tony and Mariah for like almost like like a year, 2 years.
Yeah. You need to get some people back, even if they're established stars. Like Thunder Rosa had a really good feud for the title. We have oh God, I can't pronounce her name. Sheeta, who has a I love her style. I love her like technique. I love the kendo stick. I love everything about her, and she's kind of disappeared a little bit. Obviously Britt Baker is kind of gone, but Jamie Hayter came back, and then she's kind of disappeared. Ruby Soho, you got to imagine, is coming back soon after the baby. So they
Yeah,
got a stacked
yeah.
division that they got to start using.
Well, yeah, yeah. That's a whole other can of worms. But yeah, Ruby. Yep, Tom. Ruby is coming back
I hope
eventually. I
so.
would think. I'm sure she would. And while I got 10 seconds here, you brought up Thunder Rosa really quick. It's not in my notes, but that whole segment with Thunder Rosa coming out, I don't know what went wrong there last night. But that was a mess.
That was weird, man. I don't know if it was mistimed or like what happened, but like that just didn't seem well planned,
Uh,
I guess. I don't
yeah, I
know.
don't know. I think Penelope and Megan were supposed to roll out of the ring, but like they just stood there and yeah, the chair stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
if you didn't see it, Tom, Thunder Rosa came out to make the save against Chris Statlander, and usually the heels scatter and run out of the ring at that point, and they didn't run out of the ring. Penelope just like got in the middle of them, went like this, and then Thunder was like didn't know what to do and kind of did this weird thing with the chair and stopped, and it was very disconnected. Not a
That's
great
so funny.
segment at the end of there.
Yeah,
But
it was very strange.
moving on, Buddy versus Okada for the Continental Championship.
Yes, sir.
Um, First note I have written down here: I really, really hope the Okada lasers during his entrance stay. I thought that was
They were
amazing.
so dope. I
I
really,
think that
really
looked
liked them.
really cool. I thought that was really cool. Hopefully, that's something that can stay and it wasn't just like a one-off kind of thing for
I'm
him.
glad you said that because I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't sure if I had like just missed that in the past because like sometimes I just miss the
No,
entrances, even though like that's usually like one of my favorite parts. But no, I saw that and I was like, bro, this is dope. Like, I hope this continues.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see next time he fights or just comes out. But yeah, it was a good match. I was hopeful Buddy would win, but it just didn't go that way.
Nah, I never
And
thought.
if you didn't see, did you see about Buddy that apparently he suffered an ankle injury?
Yeah,
Um,
that really sucks, man.
so I don't know how serious or how much time off, but apparently he was on crutches. So
Even if it's like minimum, that's still gonna be like a month because like if that's a badly rolled ankle where you're on crutches, that's a few weeks, and then you gotta let that like kind of build that strength
yeah,
back up. So Brody King's gonna be doing some single stuff, hopefully, which they were kind of going in
yeah,
that direction anyway. It's not like it really ruins
yeah.
the
They'll be,
Hounds of Hell, but
it'll be fine.
it does ruin the whole aura of it because now like you go from 3 to 2, and now it's kind of just like a Julia Brody thing, which it's still gonna work.
Yeah, it'll be
But
okay.
like it's just a shame for Buddy. Like they were about to really take off. You could tell.
Yeah. Quick note, by the way, I
Hold
forgot.
on,
I had
Killer
something written.
Tomato said, Rhea nursing you back is nice though. I think producer would agree with that.
Yeah. Um, the one note I have written down here also, along with Buddy injuring his ankle, there was another injury at Grand Slam. I don't know if you heard this. After the show, Tony Storm did confirm with the crowd that unfortunately she did once again tear her labia
Oh yes.
during
Yes,
during her
yes,
match with Mariah
yes.
May. So get well soon,
Bro,
because
her
Tony Storm.
also her promo last night was just fucking hilarious. I really love her so much. She's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
She
Also, if you haven't noticed, oh sorry,
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say if you haven't noticed, since she's come back, they've actually tweaked her theme now that she's like a baby face and kind of like evolved with it.
Mhm.
It's very like minute things, but from a musical sense, like they've made it sound more like it's not muffled as much anymore, like old school classic sounding. And
Yeah.
there's like more horns behind it, so I like that too. A little update with
Nice.
the theme going on.
That
So
is good.
a little music lesson for y'all.
Little music lesson. All right, so
Yeah.
now I'm very, very nervous about this next point.
So, as you all know, this is the Shane McMahon portion. This is the AEW portion of the
I was about to
show.
say this is the
Right.
Shane McMahon portion. We do it weekly, guys. The Shane McMahon segment. It's the Shane McMahon watch. Here we go.
I mean, technically, this is also the Shane McMahon section. So, a report came out a few hours ago. Obviously, take it as you will, but we all know a few months ago, Tony Khan and Shane McMahon reportedly met to just have discussions, and then from there, we didn't really hear much else after that. So apparently today, Jonathan Coachman, on his podcast, radio show, whatever you call it, um, said, I'm just gonna read what I have here. Stated that Shane McMahon during the meeting asked for equity in the company from Tony Khan, and Shane wanted to come in and run the entire show. And from there, Tony Khan, quote, ghosted Shane. Now,
That's hilarious, and I hope that's accurate.
I am inclined to think it's half true. I mean,
Which half?
he probably did come in and ask for equity and ask for some sort of creative control of maybe one of the shows.
You
Um,
don't think? Well,
from
he probably has to run Dynamite though, which TK is like, nah.
man, I don't, yeah. So I believe the equity part, but ghosting, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he ghosted. He may have the conversation may have just died there, but it's not like Shane's probably reaching out. Hey, have you heard from me or
Nah,
hello?
Shane is thirsty, bro. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. Um, that I don't know. That sounds weird. I don't know if he ghosts him, but like I
Yeah.
also wouldn't be surprised. TK's kind of like you've seen some of his social media tweets back at fans and stuff. So like that wouldn't surprise me if he was just like, "Oh, you asked for everything. Get out of here. I'll talk to you later," and then just never picks up his phone.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, again, this is also Jonathan Coachman. Like, did he really get this info from Shane himself? Like, how did Coach get this? So that's why I'm kind of like, all right, like I'll take it as a half truth at best at this point.
I just know we can't
Killer,
have Shane do it because then you'll lead this show, and that's a problem for me.
well, yeah. Killer Tomato says equity makes sense. Creative isn't Shane's thing. Yeah, true. I mean, he did want the whole WWE Kingdom for a while, but Vince said you have to kill me to get it. But
Yeah, as I say, I think creative is actually what Shane wants the most, because he wants to prove that like he's
yeah.
probably better than his dad at it.
Yeah, so that's all I had about Shane. I saw that and I was like, ooh, I want to talk about that tonight, definitely.
Thank God, I
Um,
thought it was gonna be something more. All right, moving on
I mean,
to a big
is
one. MJF, Adam Page started off the show. What do we think about this little rivalry we got going?
yeah. So this kicked off the show, and first off, I thought the venue was not one of their better ones compared to the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I personally never like it when the hard cam is facing the stage. It makes me think of like COVID times when no one's there,
Yeah.
and
They were trying to make it seem smaller and stuff.
yeah, and I get it. Like, you don't want to show like a lot of black, but like you could have done something different or more creative there. Like you had people, like they were just going in one direction
Yeah,
upward. Like you could have played with that. The camera work was very lackluster, but that's me just being
agreed.
technical. Yeah, the segment was hot. The segment was hot. I loved it. I'm digging it. I'm digging the whole storyline. The only thing I would do, I would have liked, as much as I don't like Jeff Jarrett, I would have tried to find a way to mingle Daniels with Page, kind of like Jarrett with MJF, where like those two stories are now having remnants in this story and have them both kind of still there. Because like Daniels is still involved.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But Jeff Jarrett kind of faded away, and it sucks. It's like you almost feel like you'd have to have Jarrett almost turn heel and make that work. And I get they don't want to make Jarrett a heel in his like final year, but I don't know. But either way, the promos were great. I
yeah.
mean, Adam Page has been a rock star for God knows how long now, and MJF, it was a solid night for him. Nothing really too lowbrow or cheap for my liking. So
I was gonna say, I
I
think
get,
this is one of his better ones, is he didn't do his usual shtick. I think he actually tried to pull some stuff out of like, out of some realness with saying how the fans got behind him. He burns down a house, all this other crap. What I really enjoyed was like the continued slow burn of the Adam Page babyface turn, where it's just like he's still angry, he's still trying to fight, but then like you mentioned Christopher Daniels, and all of a sudden like how dare you, be respectful, all this stuff. So like you start seeing it come out more and more slowly and slowly until like that full turn is gonna happen, which is awesome.
yeah. So the match is official at Revolution
Yep.
also. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. I want to see where it goes because obviously I don't think this has the legs to be like another 6 month epic
No,
thing.
I think this is a Revolution like match, and then they both move on after that.
Yeah, so we'll see. But moving on now, we had Big Bill versus Powerhouse Hobbs last night in a
Bro,
street fight.
that shit was crazy.
Um, yeah, and it's been this has been a fun like I hate to say like lower mid upper mid card or whatever, but it's been a nice middle of the
I was
road
say mid
story.
card. Just say mid card.
Yeah, well, I don't want to knock them down. Everyone's main eventers, right? These days. Um, yeah,
Get to that
it's
later.
been a was that?
We'll get to that later.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. Across the board. But yeah, it was a nice fun street fight. I liked it. My only I didn't see this live. Apparently this only happened during the picture in picture, but apparently at one point during the commercial break, um in the UK or overseas, Big Bill took the blood off Powerhouse Hobbs and like legit put it on his lips like lipstick and started posing like all feminine and stuff. And it was very, very weird, but
That's so
it went a
strange.
little viral.
Maybe he
It
was
went a
trying to
little
be a
viral.
tree.
I don't know. It went a little viral today, and I was like, all right, that's a choice. It was very weird. Very, just with the blood and on the
I
mouth,
won't
and
even check
that
it
always,
out. I'll just take your word for it. I can imagine it.
that always just gets me though, with the blood in the mouth and stuff. Like I
I
like
never
the
understood
violent
that.
shit,
Like,
but
you don't need to show me
that's
that you're that sadistic or crazy that you'll like drink someone's blood. I believe
uh,
you. You stabbing
yeah.
people in the head and making them bleed, more than enough for me. I don't need to see you gangrel it up. Thank you. I don't even think Gangrel did that.
Well, no, no, he didn't. Um, and then like, listen, I mean, whatever. Wrestling's wrestling, but like the ending was kind of silly. Um, with him being stuck in the
Oh,
table and the barbed wire. Because like if you watch the replay, he just landed and he fell, but then like he like put his arm in the barbed wire to get
he
it stuck in the barbed wire for the sake of the spot.
he
Listen,
started
whatever.
flailing, bro. He got nervous. You know what I mean? He's like he was in barbed wire, and all of a sudden he got hooked. It
Uh,
happens to everyone.
it was just like they would have been better off not showing the replay or a different, better angle because the angle they showed in the replay just clearly showed him like stuffing his arm
Of
in there to
course.
get it hooked in, and I was like, all
Unf
right, whatever.
Unfortunately, AEW still has a lot to learn with their camera angles and stuff. It's still a work in progress for
Uh,
them.
yeah, at this point, that's just wrestling, though. People always miss angles, but yeah, it was a nice, fun story, nice, fun match. I hope that they again keep everything going with Hobbs
hmm
and ride that momentum
Yeah,
some
really
with something.
keep the push going with him. He's got a lot of people behind him. He's doing real well, and his matches have been really good. So like, keep it up with him. I agree.
Yeah. Next up, a segment that really hit home for me. We've talked about this, I think, about a week or two ago. I did bring this up, probably 2 weeks back now. For those of you that were not on here, we are referring to Prince Nana and
Prince
the
Nana.
robe that Ricochet stole from Swerve Strickland about 2 weeks back now, and what the robe means. I think this segment did a great job of getting that across to the viewer that may not know or understand or what hasn't been watching. Um, and it made me, listen, I mean, obviously they didn't name Jimmy Rave. I would have liked them to drop like Rave by name and talk about like him passing to give it a little more weight. And maybe they don't want to because they're probably gonna do what I'm worrying about, and that's like cut up this robe with the scissors, like with Ricochet, or burn it or something. Again, want to be wrong. I get wrestling's wrestling, and there's very few lines that I don't care they cross. This is one I don't want them to cross. I won't be happy, like legit, but
It'll be the fake
we'll see.
robe, bro. We talked about it.
Doesn't matter to me, man. Sorry.
I know.
Yeah, because then that means you can't use it on TV again, and that's the point. Like
I
then
know.
it's just gone.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I thought
I'm
it was a
hopeful.
great segment.
It was great. I loved it. Yeah.
I think Nana did a really good job, getting his point across, like you said. And I think it was great that you didn't see Swerve. I think that really kind of hammered home the point that like this isn't about Swerve. This is about Nana and what the robe means to him and like the legacy of the robe, which I think is probably more important in to convey. So I really liked it and I thought it really worked. And I'm excited to see like this is a storyline that they're definitely gonna con- probably continue past Revolution. I don't see like this is another Swerve storyline that like kind of like Adam Page, where you can stretch this out. Even if they go to other opponents, they can go right back to this stuff and like stretch it out over a couple of months.
And the thing is, they just fought 2 weeks ago for the first time, and I'm pretty sure Revolution isn't a thing yet. Like it's not
Yeah,
official if it's even happening there. So they
exactly.
could hold it for Dynasty. Because Dynasty's in April, and
Interesting.
then you have Double or Nothing in May. But who knows? Because right now there's a lot going so far. I almost don't think you need it on Revolution, which is
I don't
crazy.
think so either. Like if you want to give Swerve a little extra time or whatever, that might be the way to go.
I'd probably hold it off to tell you
And
the
like
truth.
Ricochet is doing really good heel work. He's good on the mic. You could give him another opponent that like might have something to do with the embassy to kind of fill that time. Like I think they can stretch it out and give him a break.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Yep.
next up,
Next up, Mr. John Moxley, our favorite friend here on the show, um,
number
had
one
quite
John
the
Maxley
week.
podcast.
Um, so he choked out Cope at
Yeah,
Grand Slam. Um, does that make you feel any differently about the possibility of Cope beating him at Revolution now?
no, I
Really?
I I think part of it is I'd be upset if Cope's the one because like to me Cope's not as much as I love Cope, he's not the AEW representative that needs to unseat Moxley. So like I think that's where I'd be disappointed, and I think that continue like my gripe with this whole storyline, which is the AEW side and not the Death Rider side.
But what if Christian comes into play too? Like that's the thing I think about. Um, listen.
So wait, hold on.
I'm
So you're gonna do a run back of what they have already done, which is Cope wins the title, and then Christian comes in with the contract and takes the title from Cope. I'd be
it's just
even more upset.
I'm not saying that's something I want. I'm just putting
I
that
know.
into the ether
I'm not. I'm
as a
not arguing
thing.
against Juice. I'm arguing against the very real possibility of that, and that would really, really upset me. Like a
Um,
lot.
yeah.
I don't mind
So
Christian winning it. I don't mind Christian
honestly,
winning it in like in a
I'm
deceiving way.
I'm at a point where I'm at a point where I'm not so hung up anymore on like who it needs to be because
They've ruined
if
it.
that's the case, then we're all just sitting on ice waiting for Darby, and I can't live like that for 4 more months.
But that's what it was supposed to be, and that's why it
But
got
but was
ruined.
it like we're just assuming,
No,
honestly?
no. But what I'm saying, like, the way they set up that story is like you're supposed to have an AEW original or an AEW pillar, or at least someone who's been there for a long time, come and
You're
unseat
right.
him. So like,
You're right.
it should have been Darby, possibly OC. You could have done a bunch of different avenues, and again, we're gonna go back to it. I think they messed up at the beginning, giving OC that title shot. I'm sorry, giving Darby a title shot at any point. I think they should have had him getting taken out, have this long layaway, have a bunch of AEW guys, have Cope, whoever, have a lot of guys trying to take this belt from him, and Moxley being like, no one's going to take it from me. No one's crazy enough. No one's dumb enough, blah, blah, blah. And then here comes our hero, Darby, who, the ultimate underdog, would have taken, like, I don't know. I think they've really messed it up.
I'm gonna keep our time machine in the last week that we have right now. And I personally think as of right now, what's gonna happen is I think Jay White's gonna cost Cope, and we're gonna start getting Cope FTR versus Bang Bang Gang. That's my guess
That would be
right
dope.
now.
And I would love that.
Now, the last thing I want to get in here before we move on is I saw a video today, and honestly, even before I saw the video of it, I did kind of get this feeling as I heard it. I don't know if you noticed, but last night Moxley's promo was like word for word a Roman Reigns promo from a few years back.
Was it
Um,
really?
yeah, the
Uh,
whole this camera's mine, this mic is mine, you people are
oh,
mine.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. I do remember
that
that.
whole promo was legit. Like someone put it side by side,
That's
and it
pretty
was
funny.
it was legit like a Roman Reigns promo.
That's
And
a
I was like,
Shield thing, man.
yeah,
They're the
yeah, and
Shield.
that's what the fuck. That's what the freaking tweet said. But I was like, come on, this is stupid.
No, that
Like,
is dumb. I
yeah,
wonder if like Moxley did that on purpose, or if that was just something that he like things came to him and it just was.
I'm sure it was on purpose.
All right.
All right. Speaking of dumb, The last thing on
Speaking
my list.
of dumb, I 100% agree with you based on that sentence alone, by the way.
Okay. So this one's probably going to go over 3 minutes because there's a
That's
lot of
fine.
layers
That's
to it.
totally
But
fine.
I'm gonna do my best for the viewers.
It is
Um,
dumb.
so okay. So starting off, Takeshita and Fletcher lose in Australia to Osprey and Omega. By the way, awesome finisher, the double hidden blade and winged
If they
angel,
become a
amazing.
tag team, I would love for that, just to see that all the time.
Amazing finishing move. I loved it. I got hyped when they hit it.
It
It
was
was
so cool.
awesome. Um, After that match, you have Osprey challenge Fletcher for a cage match at Revolution. Awesome.
I
And
can't
then you have
wait for that.
Omega challenge Takeshita for an international title match, which makes sense. Fine
100%.
with. But then
And I was fine with that. And we left that match and everything made sense.
like an hour later,
It all
they
unraveled.
announced the International Series, which is the most like ADHD thing that I think Tony Khan has ever done. Where it's like, you listen, I hate I'm never really the whole matches for the sake of matches guy, but this feels like again like so much for nothing. Where it's like you're just stretching time for this. Like,
Hmm.
okay, so you're doing Orange Cassidy, who by the way like has been off TV for like 2 months,
Yeah, and
and
they made a point to say that he hasn't been on TV for like 6 to 8 weeks, and he just comes in and
listen,
gets an international title shot because he was the best international title ever, champion ever.
I don't even hate that because at least that makes sense with him, Orange, and Roderick being the best. I don't even hate the people, but I hate the fact that like no one needs a big return, but it's like he was gone, he was off TV, should have been off TV since Full Gear, but they brought him back for World's End. That was a big miss in my opinion.
Hmm.
Then he was off TV again for a while with no explanation as far as I recall, and comes back. I'm glad he's back to Jane, the theme song, because
Yeah,
I hated Where's My Mind.
yeah.
Um,
The
but like
Pixies.
it just seemed like a weird
Where's my
reset.
mind?
It feel like a weird reset to do. It almost makes you think Trent is ready to come back, and that's why they waited. So I feel like Trent might be in the wings soon. But listen, I love the match. It was great. But so now you're doing Strong versus Orange. The winner of that fights Takeshita next week. And the winner of that gets Omega at Revolution. But like Omega already challenged Takeshita, and it's clear that's going to be the match you're doing.
Yeah.
Like why do I care to see all these other matches you're doing to get to where I know
Also,
you're
why
going?
does Takeshita have to defend his title, but Omega doesn't have to face anyone one on one? Like that also didn't make sense to me. At least make it a series where like
Yeah, man.
Strong faces one, OC faces the other, and then they face each other. But this is like a weird proving thing for Takeshita. I didn't like it. It just doesn't make sense to me. And like it
It
was,
was
I feel like it was thrown. I honestly feel like Omega made the challenge, and then TK was sitting there, and like 5 minutes after Omega said that, he's like, "Wait, I got a great idea," and he just in the hour just put out this idea because like it seems so weird. It seems so last second, and like I also agree. OC, you can't have him have like some kind of big like. Why is he even coming back for the international series? Why is he not helping against the Death Riders? Like again, the it doesn't make sense. This whole I don't know, man. It goes back to just not making sense. Like the main event storyline from what TK is writing with like the AEW stars just like they keep going and then they disappear. Like Garcia and them came back for like 1 week to help and then they disappeared again. I just don't get it. It's weird. It's weird.
yeah. So the whole series was just very off, and like I'm worried because I'm looking ahead, big picture, and I know you probably won't mind this, and a lot of people won't mind it. I personally don't think they should do it. I think they're gearing towards Omega as international champion versus Okada as continental champion, and they're either going to unify them or put both belts on the line and all in Texas. And I don't want a unification because I know everyone says too many belts, but the Continental Championship is its own thing. I think it never should have been a belt. It should have always been like a
Yeah,
crown.
it should have been like the Diamond Ring or something like that, where it's just like a tournament, not a crown, because then everyone would say King of the Ring.
Yeah, if you just call it the Continental Crown, I don't know. It looked different enough, whatever. But we'll see. We'll see. Listen, I don't mind any of the people involved in this. It's great matches. I love the match last
Yeah,
night.
yeah, yeah.
Roderick and Orange Cassidy are two of the best, two of my favorites. But it just felt like so much to, and they've done this before. I forget what other examples, but they did something like this last year or 2 years ago, where like they booked like 3 or 4 matches for something, and it's like everyone, we all know you're doing this because you already made it obvious.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they literally announced, like, that was the strangest part. They literally announced it, and at least have Don Callis be like, no, you got, like, I don't know, man. It wouldn't have made sense because how do you talk your
I
way
would have
into
had
having two touchdown
Omega.
matches?
I would have had Omega fight Roderick and earn it, or something.
Like,
I don't
that's
know.
what I'm
But the whole
saying.
thing. Listen, I get it though, because Omega. I don't remember who got pinned, but like Omega beat
Omega got
Takeshita.
the pin, yeah, but that still. The last thing I'll say about this is we're way over time on it. Is the only I really enjoyed like the comedy part when Roderick Strong goes out, hugs both Cole and O'Reilly, and then Orange Cassidy goes out, and O'Reilly's just like, "What do I do? Well, okay, I'll give you a hug anyway." Like that was just
Yeah,
great. I love that stuff. It's really funny to me.
it's good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a break. Please don't go anywhere. While you are waiting, if you could be so kind, if you have Amazon Prime, give us a
What?
little sub because we could use help. We're trying to get to 10 subs. We're at 4 right now. If you have Amazon Prime, it's completely free. All the details are in the chat right there. During the break, if you could please give us a little shout and give a little listen to our Accept the Wind, who's our little band that helps us during our intro and our break. Sorry, I really got lost there. We'll be right back. Thank you very much.
They're not a little band; they're a huge band.
I don't know about Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys enjoyed the soothing sounds of Accept the Wind. Thank you guys again for being our band that gives us our music during our intros and breaks. So, moving on, we have our WWE section of the night. Juice's favorite. He's ready to go right now. We start off with, surprisingly, NXT news. Only time we really have NXT news. Ricky Saints is the new name for Ricky Starks. How does that feel coming off the tip of your tongue?
You know, Danny, it feels good.
I'm used to it.
Well, I'm going to say this because as a proponent here on the show for years, as you all know, such names as Gunther and Butch and Dewdrop and my refusal to call these wrestlers by those names. This is one where I'm going to fully embrace Ricky Starks taking his slave name, and I will only be referring to him as Ricky Saints from now on because this is what he clearly wanted all along. He does not deserve to be called by his real name,
Ricky Starks,
and he will now only be called Ricky Saints. So
I don't mind it just because of probably why they chose it for him, you know, with the New Orleans background and everything. But Ricky Starks is definitely better. I don't think anyone's gonna fight that.
Honestly, though, this is stupid. Only because you legit brought him out. You had him say, you had the announcer say it, you had him say it, you had social media saying, "Oh, you all know who he is. Oh, we can't believe he's here." Like, you led the whole thing along. Like, you were gonna still call him Ricky Starks.
Yep.
Like, oh, we all know who he is. We all know what he's doing here. And you played with it all week. And then it's the funniest thing where then you just go, "Oh yeah, but he's Ricky Saints."
Yep.
Like, that was so dumb.
Very ridiculous.
But whatever. This is what he wanted, so enjoy your slave name, Ricky.
Just curious how you felt about that one. All right, moving on.
Whatever.
So, a few weeks ago, we talked about some controversy that happened with Corey Graves. We weren't sure what the results or the aftermath of that would be. I'm curious what you think of SmackDown, what they did, where when they needed a replacement, they called up Vic Joseph and not Corey Graves.
You know, it's funny. I can't stand Vic Joseph so much that I didn't even think of the Corey Graves angle until just now when you said it.
That's so funny.
Like, it didn't even hit me, oh, why not Corey? Like, I just heard it was Vic, and I was like, fuck me. Like, this is going to suck. I can't stand him.
That's so funny.
Awful. And that's the only reason I'm glad he's in NXT, because honestly, I know I'm not watching right now. Like, I'm doing the fantasy game watching. But, like, when the day comes and he gets called up to the main roster, I legit don't think I can watch at all. He's that bad.
I was listening, you know, I was watching, all of a sudden they were like, and the voice of NXT, and because I don't watch it, I just assumed it was Corey Graves, and they're like, Vic Joseph, I was like, oh, shit, like, yeah, he's never getting a main call.
He honestly, he will one day. He's gonna get the. Oh wait, you mean
Corey Graves? Yeah, I mean Corey Graves.
Yeah, no, probably not. They're probably pissed at him. He's probably in hot water. Honestly,
It sucks, man. I was so sad. I really thought it was him, and then they were just like, nope, here's Vic Joseph because he sucks. All right, just wanted to see if you gave any thoughts to that. That's really funny that you didn't even think about it till now.
Yeah, I didn't even think of the Corey thing because I was so checked out on Vic. I was like, damn it.
All right. Next up, the U.S. title scene. Interesting how it's kind of shaping up. I really do think WrestleMania is going to turn some kind of multi-man match for it because it doesn't seem like they're going anywhere besides the LA Knight Shinsuke thing, which it's been so long. I don't think they're going to culminate that at WrestleMania. I think that's going to be either the next pay-per-view, Elimination Chamber, or somewhere around there. But right now they have The Miz and LA Knight, who have been having some good promos going back and forth. You have Carmelo Hayes. Even though he's not officially in the title scene, he is being mixed around with those guys. He was backstage with Miz. He's had his run-ins with LA Knight in the past. So I do, and then we have, oh man, I'm blanking on Andrade, who is always around that picture, who's always in the background. Right now he's kind of focusing on his tag team, but like he's still in the mix of a mid-card. So I'm just curious what you think. Do you like it? I kind of don't like what they're doing with Shinsuke. I'm not surprised, but not a fan of it.
Wait, what's Andrade's tag team? What are you talking about with that?
Not
What tag
Andrade's
team?
tag team. I'm sorry, not Andrade's. Escobar. I think Escobar is going to be
Um,
somewhere in there as well.
if Nakamura stays U.S. champ, I don't think the title gets defended at Mania. Maybe the SmackDown before,
Interesting.
but I don't think this. I just don't think it's gonna happen. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing the path right now. Like, I'm not seeing it. I
It
mean,
really is none for it. Which kind of sucks. And like they're not
I
even
like
giving Shinsuke like good work.
no, and I like Nakamura. I
I
mean, he's
love
clearly at that point.
Nakamura.
Clearly at that point in his career, though, like honestly, I kind of put Shinsuke Styles and Balor in the same like little ball where I'm like, they're all great, but I think they're all at that point in their career where they're like, yeah, whatever. Like,
Yeah, they're
there's no
just
fire
content
there.
taking the money now. They're just like, all right, I'll
Like,
just collect the paycheck.
I don't feel any fire in the three of them. When I
I
hear them talk,
The other day I saw a old video of Shinsuke's debut when he interrupted John Cena and Nikki, and I was just like, oh man, like I
different,
got goosebumps watching the video. I remember that night that I was like, that was the shit. I remember, I love that, and now what they've done to him is so sad.
different world.
So
Yeah.
sad, Shinsuke. All right, this is interesting.
Is
Miss
it?
Alexa Bliss. Well, not interesting, not in a good way for you or for us, I guess. Mania is shaping up to be is shaping up to be such a letdown. Killer Tomato, we've been saying that for weeks. It really, I'm not looking forward to it.
I'll get more into that next week. I agree with you, but I have something I'll share next week. But I
We
want to
got to
wait.
wait till after the Elimination Chamber to really start seeing how the Mania card is going to shape up. That's going to give us a big tell, even though we
But
already
yeah,
have
I'm with you.
a lot of tell.
I'm with you, Ed.
So Alexa Bliss is doing a backstage segment, and during the backstage segment, there was a little like glitch in the screen, and it looks like the Wyatt Six stuff is not behind her.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and we haven't seen the Wyatt Six since they were transferred to SmackDown. So, do you think we see the Wyatt Six possibly at the Elimination Chamber?
No. I'm gonna say no to the chamber. Also, I don't know if it's true or if it's even him, but I heard something a few weeks ago that one of the members, probably even Bo Dallas, like he's hurt, and that's why they haven't been on TV at all.
I heard Bo was hurt also. Yes.
Yeah, so that's probably why they're not even on doing anything. But yeah, I don't think chamber. You
Yeah,
can do
but like
something.
you could have Bo on and the rest of the
I
group
agree.
do something. You know what I mean? Like back in the like literally like I think of Bret Hart in a wheelchair while the rest of the Hart Foundation like did the rest of the work. You know what I'm saying? Like you can work around that. And I hate when they don't. You have a faction for a reason. Like that's
Well, it
what
also
annoys me.
depends on the injury and if he can travel with
That's
it.
fair.
And
Okay, that's fair. I didn't think
yeah,
about
we
that.
don't know, but
Nah, fuck it. He's a wrestler. He can travel.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I honestly really wish Bliss could just move on to do something new and not this whole thing. But she loves doing the character, so that's what
I think that's
kind of
what it is.
sucks.
Also, like she really just enjoys it for some reason. And I when she
Yeah,
came out with at the Royal Rumble with everything, a lot of people were like, "No, she's just doing it." I was like, her comeback. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Why would you like? Why wouldn't? What are you gonna come back for one night as like the
no.
Alexa Bliss evil person, and the next night change her persona? That's what she's coming back as. So like, I do think the Wyatt Six is gonna be attached to her. I think that like she's gonna be the leader, but I don't know when they're gonna debut. I guess it really depends on Bo Dallas.
Yeah, we'll see.
So moving on to the last thing about SmackDown, we had the women's title match where Tiffany Stratton defended against Nia Jax. That ended in a DQ as Candice LeRae interfered when Tiffany looked like it was about to win. Candice LeRae interfered and still let Tiffany win, just didn't get the pinfall. They were both attacking afterward, and I thought someone was going to run in to help. Charlotte came out way after the attack, like they were already done attacking her. Came out and announces that she will be facing Tiffy Time for. I'm sorry, wait, that's a lie. Trish Stratus just came out to help. I apologize. I conflated that. Stratus came out to help a little bit, fought them off, then disappeared, and that's why I got confused because she disappeared and just like left Tiffany in the ring for the whole Charlotte angle. In my head, I'm like, if you came out to help her, why wouldn't you help her get out of the ring or whatever? I digress. So Charlotte comes out, announces that she's facing Tiffany at WrestleMania. How do we feel about this? Well, you called it. So how do you feel about this?
Yeah. I mean, it's the right call between doing Charlotte and Rhea or Charlotte and Tiffy. Um, my gut immediately tells me that Stratton's going to win. I think this is going to put her over huge. I think she needs it way more than another Charlotte win does.
Yeah, I don't think Charlotte needs the
And
win. That would be awful.
I low key kind of enjoyed this match too, like Tiff and Nia.
I liked it. I was
It
upset
wasn't.
that the DQ finish had to happen because
Yeah,
that makes me nervous that Nia is still going to be in the title picture until like WrestleMania. Like she's going to say like, "Hey, I didn't get lost clean," blah blah blah. Like she might weasel her way back into another match.
Yeah. And then the thing that did bother me though was like you do that whole beatdown with Tiffy, and then and Charlotte comes out and does the thing with the chair and like sitting over her and accepting, and then like I don't know how many long, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, you got Tiffy backstage being interviewed, and Trish comes over and says, "I got us a match, teaming up together or whatever." And then like I get it's like putting over the legends and being happy, but like then Tiffy's just like, "Oh yay!" and is like
It's
clapping
Tiffy
and
and
all
Trishy
happy.
time, bro.
I was like, "I'm sorry, no, like you just got the shit beat out of you. Charlotte just called the shot. Like that's what should matter right now. It shouldn't just go from like nothing to like being happy about teaming with Trish for a tag. I get why you're doing it. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't like that segment.
I felt like the Trish Stratus announcement could have been done this week. I felt like that's kind of where you end that segment with Charlotte
Yeah.
going over her. Then Nia Jax and Candice LeRae come out this week, call out Trish Stratus, call out Tiffany Stratton, and that's where you said, because you don't need a long buildup for this feud for the Chamber.
Yep.
So I agree with you. I think you kind of let the dust settle on the Charlotte stuff and let that match get announced this week. So I think that's where they kind of messed that up.
Yep.
All right.
I would do.
The Women's Chamber is officially set. We have all 6 participants after this past week. Naomi and Roxanne Perez won their respective matches on SmackDown and Raw. Both decent matches. I mean, we'll get into it later, but the ref counts in some of the matches like really just took people out of it. I think the women's match was one of the ref counts that was a mess up from last week. I forgot which was the first one. But all 6 women are in the chamber. How do we feel about the participants? If I remember correctly, it is Bayley, Naomi, Bianca, Roxanne, Liv, and I'm blanking on the last one. Who's number 6? Let me pull it up.
Oh, it's Bliss.
Oh, Bliss, yes.
Killer Tomato says the bell scares the shit out of him every time. Also, is that the old bell? It doesn't sound like the new one.
I think that might be no. It's not the ding ding ding. I'm pretty sure it's the ding ding ding.
That sounded like the Say by the Bell bell. But
I'll find out. It might be the Say by the Bell bell. I haven't been paying attention.
It
is the Say by the Bell. The producer just confirmed.
Thank you. Either way, going back to your question, I like the field, and this might be crazy. I may need to think about it more, but honestly, I feel like Roxanne Perez is going to win this thing.
Sorry, that was me changing the bell. Continue. You think Roxanne Perez is going to win it?
Yeah. I'm looking at the field. I'm thinking about the opponents. I'm thinking about how they did Cena and Jay in the final 2, and then they did Charlotte and Roxanne in the final 2, and they love to do that lately where the final 2 are the ones anyway. It wouldn't be crazy. I mean, it would be crazy,
she's
but
barely had any main roster time, man. Like,
hey,
almost zero.
I'm just saying, look at the field and think what's going on. Like, Bayley is cold as ice.
Yeah, Bianca and Naomi are taking each other out because that's the bell. That's going to be the Jade storyline.
And then they're
Liv,
also involved with Liv. Like, yeah, you could do Liv again, but I think Liv and Raquel are going to play into this Bianca and Naomi thing,
yeah,
especially with their tag titles on
I
the line
agree
next
with
week.
that as well. So the Liv thing gets taken out there. Bailey, I
And then you
agree.
leave
She had her
Bliss,
moment last year, so that's it. So it's either Bliss or Roxanne. Shit, you're right.
and then you think Bliss, and then you think about Bliss
Bliss is
versus
not going to have
Rhea,
it because Bliss is going to be doing the Wyatt Six stuff, and she's on SmackDown. So you're going to have Roxanne because they
and then you
already
even
they also did the transfer,
and,
so that I don't think they're going to have it where they just put Bliss on SmackDown just to bring her to Raw to face Rhea.
and then also, I mean, I don't think they're going to do this, but you could have Io beat Rhea on Raw this week, and then have Liv win the Chamber and do a 3-way. I don't think they could do
I'd
that.
prefer that just because I don't know if Roxanne. I hate to
Well,
say it like this, but I don't know if she deserves a one-on-one WrestleMania match already. Like,
I'm thinking of like I'm thinking of
look how long it took
like
Bailey to
the
get
old
one.
the old versus the new, and you got Rhea versus Roxanne, you got Charlotte versus Trish, and I don't know. We'll see. We will see. But right now, my gut says Roxanne's going to win this match.
Ugh. I mean, ugh. You're right because it can't. Like as we ran down the participants, it doesn't make sense to go any other way, like at all.
Yeah.
The only other
And
person maybe is Bianca, but like I don't know.
yeah,
Like
we'll
the
see.
only way that would make sense though is because then you'll have if Naomi is the one who did it, it would be Naomi versus Jade. Where does really Bianca get involved in that?
Yeah. I'm
So I
looking
don't know.
forward to the women's chamber more than the men's at the moment.
I also am, bro, because I was about to get to the men's one. I was like, here we go. All right,
Yeah.
I'll do it. Here we go. Men's chamber. Also, all 6 participants have been finalized after these past SmackDown and Raw, where Damian Priest won on SmackDown, which I really did think Priest was going to lose. They really set up where I thought Fatu was going to take it for a second. Also, because I kind of low-key don't want to see Priest in it, but I understand why he's got to be in it. And then on Raw, we had Rollins beat Finn Balor, which we all kind of knew was going to happen. So our 6 participants for the men's chamber is Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, John Cena, CM Punk, and I'm missing someone again. Who am I missing? Who is the first one?
I didn't hear the names you said already.
Punk,
Drew?
Cena, Drew, Rollins, Priest, and who
Logan.
beat Logan? Logan.
Yeah.
I forgot about Logan.
Yeah, listen, this field is it's embarrassing, man. I think it was McAfee on Raw, like said like it's like all legends or all greats or I forget what he said. Like he said something
Not
all I think he said
all.
all what?
I don't remember what he said, but if he said all legends, I'll be mad because that's not true.
I think he said all legends,
That's
but like he
awful.
was really hyping it. You know, listen, this is the hype machine that
It's
is
a good
WWE. Everything
field, though. Like,
listen,
if
everything is the greatest ever, the
of
biggest ever,
course,
but
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
not the best field they've ever had for the chamber. I can
No,
go back and
not at all.
remember.
But like, it's not a bad field objectively. You do have a good assortment of characters. You have Logan Paul, who's gonna be the high flyer. You have Seth, Punk, and Rollins, who's got like that. That's gonna be like a big feud right there. Cena, who everyone's already mad at for just calling a shot. So like, it's not a
Yeah.
bad field, but when you look at the storylines going into it, it's a bad field, and that's the problem. That
I
like
think it's just an obvious. I think it's an obvious
exactly,
feat. By the
exactly,
way, how much do you think Finn actually hates Seth Rollins? Oh well, that botched finish, yeah. Well,
bro. That was
that
all Finn's fault.
yeah, that was
We'll
all
get
on
into
Finn.
that later. We'll get into that one later. We have a spot for that. I promise you.
But here's the thing. Listen, I've already said. I think I said it last week. Like, it's gonna be Punk and Logan. It's gonna be Seth and Roman, and then it's gonna be Drew and Priest at Mania. Like, I think that's set. I think and it's just
Yeah,
so obvious that Cena's gonna win this thing, and
100%.
that's what hurts it. It's not really an engaging like collection of
And
what you're
and
doing.
I don't think Cena's winning at Mania. So like that's what also upsets me is that you're kind of wasting a WrestleMania spot just to give Cena a WrestleMania title match that he's not going
It's
to win.
gonna put over. It's gonna put over Cody. For
Great, but you don't
beating
need to put
Cena.
over Cody. You've been putting over Cody for a year. Like I don't need you like give him a good
Yeah.
match. I don't know. Whatever. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of a good match.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, what were you going to say? One more thing?
No, that's fine. Just go. You're good.
Speaking of a good match, we have an unsanctioned match coming up at Elimination Chamber. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, we were talking about, might put the kibosh on a WrestleMania plan, which is disappointing. But how do we feel about this kind of going into it?
If they're not doing if they're not doing it at Mania, this is awful. If they're not running it back at Mania, this is really stupid. And they're clearly just doing it because we're in Canada, so Canadians in Canada, like they'll do the hockey fight spot, and everyone's gonna be like hockey Canada, eh? Like whatever. Listen, I mean, I also feel this way because at the moment this is like the only match that's gonna like make Mania worth it for me. And if they're really not going to run it back with the Hell in a Cell, which at this point it's going to have to be Hell in a Cell.
I was going to say, the only way you follow up an unsanctioned match was with something like Hell in a Cell or something crazy, because why else do an unsanctioned match? I don't get it.
Yeah. So
I know I was very surprised with it.
Well, yeah, I was too. What I'm worried about is that they're going to do Sammy and Cross, and they're going to bring back Orton and do Owens and Orton at Mania instead.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Because, the whole carry-in thing on Monday I thought was weird. I'm like, if that's going to happen after Elimination Chamber, that can only lead to one place, which means Sammy's not going to be on WrestleMania, because I don't think they're going to put Sammy and Cross on WrestleMania.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to try and stay optimistic on that, because honestly, at this moment, it's the only thing I got from Mania.
So disappointing. So disappointing. All right, moving on.
Yep.
The New Day cut a promo last night, and you had some strong... I'm sorry. I always get the nights confused. On Monday night, and you had some strong feelings about this promo. I watched it after you sent the text, and I don't know if I agree, so I want to get your full opinion before I say I agree or disagree. as you chuckle.
Okay. Can you do me a favor and tell me what I said? I don't remember at all.
I think you were like another heel promo where they're telling the fans to thank them.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
Yeah. You're welcome. It's so stupid, man. It's this lazy, cheap. Like, that's when, like, they've already ran out of ideas when they're cutting the heel promo where, thank us. Like, Trish did it. Jericho did it. Like, Miz has done it. All the heels is just such an easy layup of, but isn't it always
thank me for like being me, not thank me for what I just did? Because like that's where I thought it was a little different. It wasn't like thank me for like they've been kind of saying that, like, you should thank us for what we did to Big E. You should thank us for what we did to Rey Mysterio. Like, that's been kind of the stick from the beginning with this heel turn. So that's why I wasn't sure. Like, it didn't seem that bad, because the points that Kofi was making was like, I've been here longer, which wasn't true, but I know what he was trying to say. He's like been here consistently longer. He's won more championships. All that stuff was fine. And then they were like, you should thank us for not yellering fucking Rey Mysterio. I was like, oh, that's not bad. Like, I'm not sure what Juice is getting at right now.
Listen, if they start coming out every week and start doing the whole thank us bit, I think you'll be on my ship.
But it's only if it... I will agree if it continues being for the same person. Like, if they are attacking different people and taking them out or whatever the case is, and that's what they're using, and if they keep it kind of creative with it, I don't think I'll hate it as much. But you're right. If it's like 2 weeks from now, they're still telling us to thank them for Rey Mysterio, that's going to be pretty boring to me. I agree.
I think you're splitting the hair a little bit, but I'll move on from it.
I hope they get creative with it is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
All right. Continuing some bad stuff. The ref counts this week were pretty terrible.
Man, that not even ref count, just the referee action. Like, if anybody watched what match was it that I said?
There was two this week. The most recent one was the Finn Balor Seth Rollins finish.
Yeah, no, but I'm not talking about the women's match where I told you she just like stood there. I think it was Dakota Kai and
Yeah, and yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ivy Nile.
Hmm.
If anybody goes back and watches, God help you if you do. But if you happen to go back and rewatch this past Monday Night's Raw, Dakota Kai and Ivy Nile fought one on one, and the referee Jessica Carr, who is not good. I'm sorry, I don't think she's good.
I don't,
Um,
I agree. I was about to say, I don't think she's good either.
but like, she just stood there like a rock,
Hmm.
like in the corner, like this, with her little
Hmm.
boxy shoulders, and just stood there, not moving, no emoting, no checking on the wrestler after they get like taking some hit, like the classic wrestling things. I don't know if she was sick or something. Something was off with her in that match. She didn't do
Don't give
anything,
her
and
an
it was so
excuse.
obvious. But yeah, then the main event, like you said, like that 3 count. Honestly, I don't blame the ref on that. That's Finn's fault. The refs are trained to tuck their arm in and not even do the whole like, oh, look how close like the AEW refs do or any refs do.
Hmm.
WWE ones tuck the arm in, and it stuck out, and that's what made it look so bad.
Yeah,
So yeah, the crowd was dumb and chanting "ref, you suck," but that was Finn's fault.
that was all Finn's fault. Yeah, and I honestly think Finn just kind of couldn't see it, but at the same time, that's why they literally count right next to your head, so you can
And
hear
also,
the
I mean,
1, 2. Like, just doesn't
but
make
even
sense.
then, like if you're listening to the crowd doing the 1 and the 2, you can time the 3
Agreed. That's
almost.
what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
just
whatever.
was very strange. And then I think there was another bad one. I can't remember it. I thought there was one on SmackDown that there was another, or maybe that was last week that there was a bad one. But just there's been some inconsistencies with the 2 count where like they got to be careful because it's not looking good. So I really hope that they do better with that. Um, Last note of the night, we
Best point.
have
Best point.
whatever last
The name of the
point
segment.
standing.
It's the
I
whole
know.
night.
We have WWE Tough and oh, I'm sorry, LFG
Hey, hey.
debuting this past Sunday, which apparently is the first time ever they've done anything like this, according to Shawn Michaels, where they've done a competition series where the person wins a contract at the end. For anyone who didn't see the debut episode, it is a little bit different from past. Like if you ever seen like a Tough Enough or anything like that, they have 4 coaches: Bubba Ray, Mickey James, Booker T, and The Undertaker. Which having The Undertaker there, I genuinely think is pretty cool. The coaches will be forming teams, from what I understand, of 4, 2 men and 2 women, that they will be trying to coach till the end to win the competition. The 1 male and 1 female winner will win an NXT contract, and the coach who wins will win the newly coveted and debuted LFG Championship. That's right, that goes to the coaches and not to the contestant who wins the competition. And your thoughts, Juice, or anyone at home.
Okay, so Killer Tomato first off says tough enough with a question mark. Assuming he does know what tough enough is, but just in case him or any of our viewers do not know, Tough Enough was a reality contest, a competitive show that aired on USA or various platforms, and it was all like unknowns, wrestlers that were just off the street, people that wanted to become a wrestler, and they trained and they lived in a house and all that stuff, and they won $1 million and I think like a 1 year contract or whatever. And most of them have been bad. There's been a few people that have come out of it good. But the difference with this one is that it's I do know Angle almost had to kill someone. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
That was Daniel Puter on SmackDown.
That
But
was hilarious. And then he won, got the shit chipped out of him at a Royal Rumble, and never came back. No, I'm just kidding.
good for the best. But yeah, so this one, it's weird, man, because like I watched the whole thing, like an hour and a half, and like by the end of it, I was still kind of like, what is this show even about? Like I was still kind of like confused
So
because like even though they showed the little graphic, you said everything you said, I knew all of that, but they didn't do a good job of like by the end of it, like by the end of that episode, it should have been like these are the teams.
yes,
Here's who's with everybody, and it
yes.
was just like I was kind of
At
like,
the end of the
what?
episode, they only had one. well, technically two people, one male, one female, choose their coach. And
Yeah,
then the
so I
next
was kind of like,
episode is going to be the
yeah,
whole team choosing thing because they're going
I
to have
guess
probably
so.
more competitions or whatever.
Yeah, I just feel like
The
after an hour and a half, it's like,
I
how do you not
agree.
just get that set for your
I
first
agree.
episode to hook everyone in? But
Um, I also wasn't too crazy about like how they didn't give us any real criteria how they chose like the final four for the first episode to compete in the match at the end to like
oh,
choose. So like I didn't agree with the two, with the final four they chose. I thought like one of the other guys had a better promo. I didn't really, but they didn't really show us the competition part, so I don't really know like who did better in the ring or whatever. The only real difference that I see between this and like Tough Enough and stuff is that these guys have already, or these people have already been training in the performance center. They're already with WWE in some fashion. Where like Tough Enough, they were like the Miz was from MTV and they signed him onto the show. They had people who had never done wrestling before sign on to the show. Where this one, it seems like even if they never done wrestling before, they've been in the performance center before. So like
you know what though? For me, like the tough enough thing that you just said, like that's the more fun, engaging thing for a viewer. Like honestly, I don't want to use the word checked out, but I kind of don't care to see like people that are already low key on a WWE deal compete to get an NXT deal
I
because we
agree.
know how this goes. Like half these talents are probably going to get the NXT deal anyway.
I agree.
So listen, I get this is a lot of just for content for them, but like I'm gonna watch it because I always enjoy the behind the scenes stuff
And
where I get to see
that's
like
And that's
the
what's
art of
funny that you
it.
say it like that because I thought that's what this was when they first introduced like the opening of the show. They were like, "You get to see it behind the thing." I'm like, "Oh, so we're gonna see them train them, and this isn't a competition, and they're gonna like be like, you're the best one, like you're getting moved up or whatever, and like this is a behind the scenes of how they coach them and shit." And then they're like, "And then we're gonna have a competition," and then the final one, I'm like, "Oh, so this is Tough Enough, just like a more glorified version of Tough Enough." Okay, got it.
It was just fun because there were moments where they were cutting the promos and I was saying things out loud that like seconds later Taker would say
Yep.
just like, word for word.
Yep.
And like that's cool where I'm like, motherfucker, I get it. Like, you
Yep.
know what I mean? Like stuff
Bully
like
too.
that.
When like Bully said when the girl brought up her father getting like deported and stuff, I was like, girl, get angry right now. Like use some emotion. And Bully's like, how to make you feel? I was like, yes, thank you, Bully. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It
We're
was the
on the
one
same
guy that
page.
it was the one guy that cut the promo and as he's cutting, I'm like, I don't believe a word that you're saying right
Yeah.
now. Like, and then
Yeah.
like seconds later, Taker's like, you don't believe anything you just
Yep.
said. And I was like,
Or the guy who was like smiling, the guy who got into one of the final matches, he was like smiling, smiling, then turned serious. I was like, oh, I wish you did that in the same promo. That would have
yeah.
been so cool. And then Bully's like, do it together. I'm like, Bully, me and you are on the same page. I think I'm gonna be like a big Bully Ray fan this show. Um, yeah, so it'll be interesting. I am gonna watch it. It is gonna be entertaining for me. I just hope I'm just curious to see what the result of it is. But
Yeah, I just don't find myself. I'm not going to end up rooting for anybody because it just feels kind of it feels too cold and corporate for me versus what
I'm
Tough
not
Enough
gonna
was.
root for them.
Really.
But I already hate that little fucker who doesn't know how to like respect the wrestlers. The
Well,
blonde haired
yeah,
guy,
and that's
BJ,
the funny thing. That's the funny thing, man. Because even then,
that
like
little
I've watched,
bitch.
I've seen enough reality TV over the years. I'm like, all right, this is probably just a plant.
Yeah,
But
they
either
told him to
way,
do that for sure, 100%.
yeah. So before we wrap up here, Killer Tomato says, "Wait, please discuss the Mr. Met Yeet bobblehead, please." I don't know. I haven't seen this. There's a Yeet, a Mr. Met Yeet bobblehead.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We'll have to look that up
Um,
offline, but I
is
haven't
it
seen
is
that
it
yet.
like one of those Killer Tomato? Is it one of those things where they are doing a giveaway at one of the nights? Yeah. Told you. So it's one of those giveaway nights. And remember Matt sent us in the group chat the WWE night. So that's definitely what it is. They're doing a Mr. Met Yeet bobblehead. They're probably gonna give him the sunglasses,
Oh,
and they're
yeah,
either
I'm looking
gonna.
at it. I'm
Oh,
looking
you're
at it
looking at
now.
it.
He's wearing the sunglasses that say Yeet on them.
Oh
He has his
God.
hands out like this.
Oh
Um,
God.
Yeah, the shirt says Yeet, and he's standing in a little miniature wrestling ring, a blue wrestling ring with orange ropes on it.
Oh, that's
and
awful. Actually, that's not that bad.
well, I mean it's the Mets, but
If you
so that's on
if you're a Met fan and a Jey Uso fan, you should definitely pick one of those up.
so that's going to be on WWE night. That's going to be July 21st.
If any fans of the podcast that aren't Met fans or aren't Jey Uso fans happen to go that night, please get us one so we could give it to Matt, who's the ultimate Jey Uso fan. He's a main event Jey Uso stan, and I would love to get that for him and his new child that he's abandoned us for. So if you could please gift that to the pod, I would be forever in your debt. Thank you very much.
Oh boy.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you Tuesday night for our usual game night. Please join us 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Anything you got to say, Juice, before we go?
Nah, just and chin up. Wrestling's tough these days.
It's all
Just
right.
saying.
Who's Matt? Don't get me started, Killer Tomato. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great night. We'll see you on Tuesday. Adios, everybody.
Yeah.